What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of Sistas. This is Season 8, Episode 5, and let's go ahead and get right into this review. Alright, so as we already know, Gary had a seizure when Andy went to go see him in the hospital, right? Okay, so now we got Andy at the hospital. She trying to get an update from the doctor about Gary's health or whatever. And baby, here comes Hudson, okay? He's waving his little power of attorney flag. And he's telling the doctor, listen, don't you tell this lady nothing, okay? You don't tell her nothing about Gary's whereabouts, right? Now, one thing I will say is that Hudson has become a new villain on the show. Because the way he be dogging Andy out, my God, he eats her up every time, okay? So he ends up telling Andy to get out, right? So then the next time that we see Andy, you guys, she is over there at her apartment. She is having flashbacks, okay, of Gary. And I mean, like, flashbacks of when they first got together, how he said he was going to leave his wife for her, all the things, right? She's literally over there trying to talk herself off the ledge because she is losing her mind behind Gary. Like, she's telling herself, that she will never let a man control her and all these things. Girl, good luck. Because Andy, let's be completely honest, I'm not even understanding why you're feeling so confused about this whole Gary situation. You should be jumping for joy that man is almost dead. Okay? First of all. Secondly, let's be honest. The way you go head over heels for the men that you date, be so serious about yourself, girl. They absolutely control you. Okay? Now, moving on from there, when we see Andy again, she's starting to replay a conversation that she had with Jordan right before the wedding, right? And basically, Jordan said something along the lines of he would, take Gary out. So now this has her wondering, is it that Jordan was the one who actually, took Gary out? Do I think that Jordan did it? Probably not. He's just too goofy. You know what I mean? I feel like Jordan's a little too goofy to actually stab Gary. But who knows? Now, by the end of the episode, we did see that Jordan and his sister Penelope showed up, right? Baby, Penelope pissed off, right? I mean, pissed. Because at this point, she thinks that Andy was in on this whole thing with Gary. And honestly, when I look at things from her perspective, I can absolutely understand why she may have felt that way. Because how is it that Andy conveniently decided to get married to Gary, after this girl has already gone into witness protection, she broke up with Jordan, and now it did look like maybe her and Gary could have possibly, planned to get together. Now, we know that ain't true, but hey, Penelope don't know that. Now, while Andy has all this going on in her home, let's hop back to her workplace because that's somewhere where she should be. But of course, Robin told her that maybe she could go ahead and lay low. So, at the office, Marie goes to see Hayden. Now, at this point, he's annoyed by her because, number one, she's supporting Andy. Number two, Tamara found out about him messing around with her. And things just went left with Marie. So, he basically tries to read her down about being laid up with him. And then she basically tells him that she chooses business over pleasure every time. And honestly, the banter between these two, I'm just kind of like, ill. Because it's definitely giving mother and son. I am so over it, okay? So, the next time we see them, Marie basically tells Hayden, like, listen, I want you to look over the Roots to Riches business plan, right? Now, I can't lie, I'm already annoyed with this storyline because I don't need Hayden being mixed in with any more of the sisters, okay? He's already getting on Andy's nerves. We already know him and Fatima are like oil and water. Why are we getting him involved with anybody else, okay? Now, also what's throwing me off is the fact that Marie has already invested in the company, yet now she wants to look over the business plan. I'm like, girl, you should have got that business taken care of before you invested. How about that? Now, also at the same time, one thing that annoyed me was how derogatory Hayden was towards a black-owned business. Because he was like, oh, this is just some edge control for some nappy-headed black women or something along those lines. And I'm like, whoa. Like, Hayden, what's all this? It's giving self-hatred, buddy. I'm not understanding. So then at one point, Marie basically tells Hayden that she's the reason why he still has a job. And I'm like, I'm going to need for you to elaborate, ma'am. Because, of course, I know that Robin doesn't like Hayden because he tried to get him out of, the company. But at the same time, like, Marie, what you got to do with this? Please let us know. Now, after all of that, Marie is leaving and Fatima pops up, right? And she's questioning Hayden about what that was all about. And honestly, you guys, they are making me hate Fatima. Like, my God. These past couple of episodes have been hard for me to watch Fatima because I feel like she is overstepping every boundary at this point. Because you already know this man, he don't like you. So why would he sit up here and tell you anything about a conversation that he had with Marie? Be so for real. So then Hayden, he ends up telling her, don't worry about it. But what you should do is worry about your mute son. I said, now, baby, I would have been over that table, okay? Because the fact that he talked about Michael like that, that's a problem. That's a serious problem. I'm like, yo, Hayden's mouth is getting really reckless now. Now, Fatima, she basically tells him, number one, don't talk about Michael like that. And number two, he shouldn't try to sleep his way to the top. Well, baby, he had a rebuttal because he's like, well, maybe you should tell your homegirl that. And of course, we all know that he's referring to Andy. Now, this is where things got a little shaky for me when it came to Fatima. Because at this point, she's assuming that Hayden is trying to get Marie Willis, to come over to his side of things, because Andy's not there. Baby, Fatima, this is what you should be doing. Your job. Just do your job at this point. Like, you have no idea what's going on. He did not call Marie there. Marie showed up on her own. So what I need for you to do is just peep game, see what's going on with your eyes and ears, but keep your head down, okay? He ends up kicking her out or whatever out of his office. And what does she do? She calls Zach. I said, well, girl, what's that gonna do? Why are you calling Zachary? Like, this whole call Zachary popping up at the job, it's unnecessary. It's really unnecessary. Like, DeVal don't need to check. I'm gonna be honest, DeVal don't need to check for this. I'm sorry. But moving on from that, later we see Hayden, or whatever, he sees Fatima again, and he basically tells her that she should mind her business. And I kind of agree. I do agree. Fatima, just let this go. Because this man has to remind her that he is now in charge. He is taking Andy's place. Now, I have no idea how long Robin is expecting for Andy to not be at work. Hell, it could just be for the next couple of days, but the way Hayden is walking around, he walking around like Andy got the boot for real. Okay? So, basically, Hayden tells Fatima that she may be replaced at this point. Now, of course, she tells him that this isn't going to end well for him and blah, blah. Now, my whole question, honestly, watching this is why is Fatima in the conference room? The conference room that is completely glass, everybody can see in the conference room, and she has literally her textbook open, which further lets us know that she's studying for her class. Fatima, why are you avoiding your own office as if you don't have one? It makes no sense to have her study in the conference room when she can be studying in her office. Like, can we please make that make sense? Then, when we see Fatima again, y'all, this will really piss me off. Why was she at the house? Why did Fatima come home? She's so stressed out about Hayden, so she decides to come home, take a bite of a taco, and then have to go back to work. Excuse me? What is this scene? Now, there was a conversation had between her and Zach because they want to add Robin to the suspect board, and then they also mentioned adding Marie to the suspect board. But again, what was the point of her coming home on her lunch break that's only 30 minutes? Make that make sense, please. If anything, you could have had this conversation when you came home from work and it was the end of the work day. Okay? I'm not understanding where they're going with this Fatima and Zach storyline. They got to figure it out. Now, let me go ahead and talk about Karen real quick, because, baby, this is being dragged out. Because we're at the salon. The random girl is over here yelling about how she wants $400,000. Like, girl, if you don't cut it out. First of all, they invested a lot of money into getting this salon together, yes. But they don't just have $400 to give to you. So then she's over here going live on her phone, talking about some roots to riches, wreck your edges. Roots to riches, wreck your edges. I'm like, okay, this is enough. I'm over it. So now, when we go back to see what's going on in Karen's salon, now we have multiple women chanting that roots to riches wreck their edges. And I'm like, first of all, I'm trying to figure out where these random women come from, because if these are your clients, that's a problem. Secondly, the product ain't even messed up everybody's edges. So I'm not understanding how all these women are chanting this. Like, honestly, that woman needs to be put out of the out of the salon ASAP. And then what was even more weird to me was that the women would start chanting. And then once they would stop chanting, that's when Pam and Karen would have a conversation to be like, we need to get these ladies out of here. I'm like, yo, this is weird. I don't know how they filmed this or why they filmed it this way, but it's giving whack. Now, moving on from there, we get back to Karen's salon again, and who shows up? Trey. He shows up. Karen is trying to close out the shop. The ringleader at this point of the roots to riches wreck your edges, she ain't trying to move nowhere. Like, honestly, this whole scene with Karen, to me, it could have been one scene. Just one, because we got nowhere every chance that they showed, more of these scenes. Like, oh girl, she comes in, of course her edges are wrecked, and she's blaming, Karen and Pam. Like, the fact that there was absolutely no way to get this woman out the store was crazy to me. Because next thing you know, we see Karen, she is stressed out. Keep in mind, this woman is very much pregnant. She's stressed out. Pam is over here trying to convince her that her products did not, tear this lady hair out. And next thing you know, Marie shows up. I'm like, what is going on? Like, do I feel bad for Karen? Absolutely, because number one, this ain't even her product. You know what I mean? This is her homegrown product that, yes, she went into business with her, but I don't think that they are to the point where she has checked Pam to be like, what's in the products, all that type of stuff. But the worst thing about this is that you have this woman who's hooting and hollering every 5 seconds, and she is refusing to leave. I'm like, how have y'all not called the police by now? Because somebody should have been called. Now, hopefully, since Marie is here, she can kind of say the right things to get all those ladies to leave. But we shall see in the next episode. Now, moving on, we got to go ahead and put Sabrina and Danny together, right? Because first things first, Rich goes to see Sabrina at work, right? Now, here's my thing. How many times these people gonna see each other all day? Because keep in mind, y'all, we are still in the same day. Like, we literally saw Rich go to Sabrina's house this morning or whatever after she got interrogated, and then she figured out that she had time to go see her homegirl in the morning also. Then she went to work for a little bit, and now he's here. I'm just like, yo, I need for this day to be over, okay? It's taking too long. Nonetheless, Rich, he go over to see Sabrina or whatever, and we see that Maurice, he's there getting into it with the white girl. I think her name is Paige. Of course, they're arguing like they always do, but this time they're arguing over a stupid pen. So what bothered me was that the camera jumps back to Sabrina and Rich, and she can hear all the commotion that's happening, and she's like, what's going on? But she says it to Rich as if he worked there. I said, sis, this is your job. This is your bank. I think you need to go see what's going on. So, of course, when she gets out there, she has to break Maurice and Paige up. And then she ends up going back to Rich, right? Now, he's like, oh, let's go to lunch or whatever. And she's like, no, I can't go to lunch. I'm really busy, at work. But you can come by the house. Again, can we go to Rich's house? Can we see how he living? I'm so tired of these men laying up in these women's houses. I am so exhausted of it. But he ends up leaving, and next thing you know, Danny calls her, right? She wants to talk or whatever. She wants them to have lunch together. And Sabrina kept saying no, no, no. But once she realized that Danny was drunk, she's like, oh no, let me go check on my friend. So Sabrina ends up going to the bar to see Danny, or to the restaurant, I should say. And she sees that Danny is drunk, okay? Now, Sabrina is trying to understand Danny and where she's coming from in this moment. However, Danny was a little bit all over the place, right? So we already know that she's mad because, number one, Tony won't have sex with her, even though, as she said, they've been sleeping together 2 to 3 times a day, every day, which is crazy, okay? But then it also further let us know that their entire relationship was based off of sex, which most of the relationships on this show is. And when he wants to talk about feelings, emotions, anything else, she don't want to talk about it because, again, that has nothing to do with the basis of their relationship, okay? So she doesn't even know how to handle those types of conversations. So then, she's kind of upset because, well, according to Sabrina, she's like, well, you're mad because he cares about your feelings and, he just kind of wants the best for you. And Danny ain't trying to hear that, okay? Now, she also gets upset because her therapist is not answering the phone. And it's like, girl, your therapist does not have to be at your beck and call. Relax. So next thing you know, she ends up opening up to Sabrina about the fact that Tony tried to sign her up for the leadership program. And he did this without her consent. And she feels like he wants to change her, right? That has been her rhetoric for a while, that these men are trying to change her. Now, do I think that Tony is trying to change Danny? Not exactly. I do think that he sees potential in her and he wants to see better for her. But at the same time, Danny is the type of person that's stuck in her ways. She feels like she knows everything that's best for her. So, hey, it is what it is. So, the next time we see Sabrina and Danny, we have Sabrina expressing to her friend, like, listen, girl, I think that you're going a little too hard on Tony because at the end of the day, he's just trying to help. However, Danny is like, no, that's a double standard because he's trying to change me. And baby, this is what pissed me off. Here comes Tony and Rich. I said, why are they here? Of all the places to be, why are they here? I don't need to see Tony and Rich right now. I really don't. I'm actually enjoying this conversation between Sabrina and Danny. Okay? Because I feel like both ladies have valid points. Yes, this man is trying to help Danny be better and all the things. But also at the same time, I do understand where Danny is coming from. You can't sign me up for a program without telling me, hey, I can get you signed up. I think this will be a great opportunity for you. He did all of that after the fact. And like she said, there's no paid training. That would be me working extra hours. That may be something that she's just not willing to do. Like, I do feel like, Tony, you kind of, pushed the limit a little bit. Definitely pushed the limits. But y'all, that was the episode. Let me know what y'all thought about it. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I will talk to you in my next review. Bye, guys.